Hello, everyone. Hola, mundo. Welcome to Voces Poderosas. I'm Jackie Bouvier, here to shine the light on our nation's most powerful voices of influence. I'm honored to have created this movement that's highlighting, celebrating, and just putting out there the brilliant, amazing Latino leaders in our nation. All of these different interviews can empower you and I, and it's empowering our Latinidad and showcasing the voices that impact and drive the change in America. Voces Poderosas is a transformative shortcast, spotlighting trailblazers, pioneers, catalysts, and leaders. These exceptional professionals bring insightful wisdom to inform, inspire, and empower every single one of us. But the most important part is that it's catapulting us to the next level of success in our lives, whether it be professionally, careers, or just basically giving us an opportunity to say, yes, I align, I understand, and I will follow your journey. Today, I'm excited to introduce to you Victor Arias, a seasoned executive with 35 years of experience in executive search. As the managing director and partner in charge of the Dallas Fort Worth office at Diversified Search, Victor has been instrumental in helping organizations attract top talent for leadership roles, particularly in the consumer goods, real estate, and higher education sectors. Beyond his professional achievements, he is deeply committed to advancing Latino representation in business and civic leadership through his work with the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Latino Business Action Network, and more. He is just amazing. I truly feel honored. I feel very blessed to have you here, Victor. Welcome to Voces Poderosas, Victor.
Jackie, thank you so much. I think, I'm really privileged and honored to be on this podcast with you because you have interviewed mostly Latina leaders. And so I'm glad you didn't ask me to change my name to Victoria. But I'm very honored to be here with you.
Oh, thank you so much. Something's happening in the air, right? This country is switching. Latinas are getting empowered and, unstoppable women. So, but
Yeah,
you're
agreed.
amazing. And I love having you here. Tell me about your story. Tell us. We want to hear your story, your journey, and your why. Why do you do what you do? And how did you get to where you are?
Sure. No, look, I grew up on the border of Mexico and U.S. in El Paso. And but very typical of families and communities living on the border, because in some ways that border is transparent. um, Grew up speaking Spanish first language, very strong ties, familia and cousins across the river. So it was a very, very rich upbringing that I had with my parents. And I believe that everything that I have sort of that is my foundation, I learned from them and my abuelos. And so um, growing up there, I went to college there at UTEP, very proud to have gone there. And then I went off to graduate school at Stanford University to get my MBA there. Um, and then got to live in Houston, working for a bank, mostly in Mexico, doing clients in Mexico. But then I went into a career of real estate, and I joined a firm by the name of LaSalle Partners. It's now JLL, it's in Chicago, and did a lot of work there. Learned a ton about sort of the unwritten rules of corporate America, because it was a very kind of a blue blood place, and I was, always sort of pivoting and trying to find the right way to do things. And so I learned a ton there. But then from there, um, I stayed in real estate and came to a development here in the Dallas area, Dallas-Fort Worth area, called Las Colinas, and 3 years, very rich experience. But then after that, I decided I wanted to get into something where I could hopefully change people's lives, and take advantage of the many relationships that I had, and because I value personal relationships tremendously. So I got into executive recruiting, which what I've been doing since 1996. So that's why this gray hair is there. And but I really sort of coincidental to all that, there were a few things that changed my life. One, I was elected to the board of trustees at Stanford University, where I spent 10 years there. Number two, I was asked to join a public board at that time called AFC Enterprises. It was the parent company of Popeye's Chicken, Church's Chicken, Seattle's Best Coffee, and Cinnabons. And spent 15 years on that board. And so all that kind of helped me with my career on doing a lot of board director searches, which is incredibly, it can be challenging, but it's just a tremendous way to create change, especially in the boardroom. So all these things kind of gave rise to a lot of things that I've been involved with, as to the why, because I wanted to make sure that I could create or try to create change. So as you know, because you're the president of Prospanica, I was one of the founders back in 1988 of Prospanica. And I actually was the president for 5 years of the group. And so that just getting to the whole graduate management education piece was really important, and pushing through more successful MBAs like you, Jackie. The second thing was helping to put together to do a lot of work in the board of directors space. And I started out with an initiative at ACER with Carlos Horta and a bunch of others. And then that led to the formation of the Latino corporate directors. So I'm still on that board. And then finally, one of the important pieces that changes the way that America looks at Latinos is in the entrepreneurial space. So Latinos, Latinas over-index in the formation of new businesses by any group by 3x to 1. And so we put together this Latino Business Action Network at Stanford University, and we target the top 3% of Latino businesses and help them scale. And so we've been doing that for 10 years now. So that is an important, impactful initiative that I love being a part of. And then the U.S. Hispanic Chamber. I have just been elected for a chair-elect. So I'll be the chair of USHCC in 2 years, and I'm very proud of that as well.
Wow. Just listening to you, I'm thinking I've been impressed every time. And right now I'm just like, whoa, how are you? How old are you? 200 years old?
Close.
You have done so, no. That was meant in wisdom. You're just, honestly, what you have and what you offer, it's just phenomenal. I'm honored. I'm truly honored and blessed to have you here. Most importantly, just to hear your trajectory, your journey. And you're such a down-to-earth, humble human being with so much knowledge and so much wisdom. Honestly, I don't think there's anyone like you, and you are really inspirational. I am listening to you, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how do I get to talk to you every day? I'm sure the people that have been around you have been blessed by what you have to provide, and by everything that you have acquired in all of your journey. And gosh, thank you. Thank you, because you've blessed so many businesses, so many leaders, and so many Latinos. In that spirit, how has your professionalism and your life in this professional world aligned with your heritage? How did you feel you implemented that or incorporated your Latinidad in this journey?
So first of all, I've been blessed by meeting so many people like you, Jackie. And so because I think this whole issue of trying to be humble was one of those values instilled in me by my grandparents and my parents. They said, you have to treat people right, and you want to treat, like the golden rule. And so I find it easy to walk into the, walnut covered boardroom and do my thing with that kind of group, but then walk out and say hi to the janitor that's out there cleaning the hallway, and just make people feel like they're human. And again, that was something I think that was instilled in me. Now, going back to the whole idea about professional, I'm not sure that those kind of values were valued when I was coming up. And it was, in some ways, I was hiding my Latinidad. And I was trying to blend in. And I think there's a certain degree of, being chameleon-like and trying to adapt to certain situations. That's really important. But here's the key. Adaptability for Latinos is a top-notch value and attribute, because many times you, me, and many others are thrust into situations where, we have to operate in the business sense. And yet we have this other part of our lives that, there's people ask me, do you dream in Spanish? I said, well, yeah, I think so, but there's not a switch up here that I turn on automatically. And so by being Latinos, we are, by definition, we're bicultural. Many times we're bilingual or trilingual. And I think we brought up with those values of, you don't pound your fist on the table, you create value and let people talk about you. And sometimes it's harder to get, uh, to get known, but that, to me, those values create the kind of great leaders that many Latinos can be. And so anyway, so
That's
that's how I
powerful.
kind of take away all that. And what has, I think, helped me. There were many times when I was in rooms, or maybe not in rooms, but even in offices, where colleagues would be talking and they would be talking secretly about information because I wasn't a threat to them. I wasn't perceived as somebody that, oh, who's that? And they would talk about, and I would get information that I would use for my benefit later on. So, it's kind of just being adaptable and learning how to play the game.
That's powerful because, I think that's a big part of what you just said, having others speak for you, right? Those sponsors, so to speak, right? That
Yep.
are being talked about. And I call them gatekeepers and people that hold keys. And I think we've had a negative connotation about that for years, but really it's a blessing to be a gatekeeper and own the keys to be able to provide that opportunity to others. And so again, and that's like a sponsor. And then that spirit. I'd love to ask you, what advice would you give the younger generation looking to be, you know, led by someone so amazing as such as yourself and encouraged? And so, what advice would you give in any area? AI, diversity, everything that's changing right now.
Well, I think AI is a tool that's going to dramatically change the way that everybody does business. So the more that you can, become an expert in what that means, just like, technology changed a lot of lives for Latino executives, same way. But I will say two pieces of advice. One is, you're always going to run into a situation that may not be the most positive. You have to take the positive out of those negative situations. And so always take the high road. Always take the high road. And which means if somebody does you bad, then you do the opposite of what they expect you to do, and you treat them nicer, because
Thank
those
you.
people will come back to you. I can't tell you how many times, especially in my role as an advisor and a consultant for board of directors, people come back and say, "Hey, hi, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a long time. I'm really interested in the board." I remember. I remember.
Mm.
I'm like an elephant. I don't forget. Um, so that's one piece. Always take the high road. The second one is, something that my grandparents, my grandmother, one in particular, always would play Jose Alfredo Jimenez music in her humble little one-bedroom apartment. And one song that always stuck to me was, about, El Arriero and the muleteer that was leading his mules. But he always said, "No hay que llegar primero, pero hay que saber llegar." So
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't win just by getting there first doesn't mean you win. It's knowing what the journey brings and knowing how you get someplace.
I
And to me,
love it.
that is the most important thing, because that journey could be a lifelong journey. And so, to me, that's really, really an important piece of advice.
Wow, like that just hit home to me. Thank you so much. And I'm sure it's impacting so many people out there just listening to you. Victor, I wish we had all day long.
Yeah.
But it's a short cast, and I want to say thank you so much for being on Voces Poderosas. Thank you for taking time of your day, and it's
Thank you,
been a
Jackie.
blessing.
Thank you.